welcome back to my global kitchen. Now this is the 13th and final month of our series, and I'm bookending the whole concept as we began it, really, by taking dishes from around the world, but which encapsulate the concept of my global kitchen and of global food, by combining ingredients from the New World, the Old World, around the world, to create some iconic dishes for us to taste and enjoy. And today we're doing something which I've had on my list since the very beginning. I've always planned that this would be one of the dishes in the final month, basically because it ticks all of the boxes. It has ingredients from Asia, from Europe, from Africa, and from Latin America, brought together in a genuine fusion food, one of the first designed fusion foods, if you like. It's part classical from Europe, part Creole, part Cajun, and it's jambalaya. Now the word jambalaya actually comes from the Provençal word, and it simply means a mishmash. But the people who named it and who created the dish were actually from Louisiana in the United States. So it really has a wonderful mixed history. So what do we need for jambalaya? Well, as the name suggests, a mishmash of things. There are certain things which are more or less required, and I would say on that list is the rice, our vegetables, so we have celery, garlic, onion and peppers, and then our tomatoes. And that's really the base of the dish. After that you can add what you like. Very typically, and what we're using today, I've got some chicken thighs and some fresh prawns and some spicy sausage, chorizo, as we're in Spain, but it could be any kind of spicy sausage. And the rest really is just then flavouring. So I've got some stock, chicken stock, to make up some stock to cook the rice in, some bay leaf, some cayenne pepper and paprika, some thyme, some oregano, a little bit of tomato puree, salt and pepper. So there are ingredients. There's a fair bit of chopping involved, so let's do a quick check on the equipment and then come back and see how I'm getting on. So all we need today is a chopping board, a knife, a wooden spoon and a large saucepan or saute pan. Okay, so that's all our vegetables chopped, our onions, celery, peppers, garlic, tomatoes. Also chopped up my chorizo into slices. And as I said, jambalaya is a very flexible dish. There are echoes of paella in here, of course, because it's a rice-based dish, but you know, there's much less prescription or much less requirement to stick to the rules or the recipe. In jambalaya you can add almost anything. So if you add some green beans or some sweet corn or something like that, or leeks, add that. In fact, you could make a vegetarian version without putting the chicken in or the prawns. But also you could add pork or rabbit or sea fish. Pretty much anything you like that you've got to hand goes into jambalaya. The only real thing, and this is where it differs from paella, but is crucial to the idea of jambalaya, is it's got a kick. So whether that's through the spicy sausage or whether that's through the cayenne pepper or chili powder, it should have a bit of a bite to it to be true jambalaya. So that's it, we're almost ready. Let's head to the kitchen and start cooking. Okay, so what I've done so far is I've cooked off my chicken thighs in a little bit of oil for about 5 minutes. And now I've got my vegetables and my chorizo in the pan. They've been cooking for about 5 minutes. And now I'm going to add the tomato puree and the fresh tomato. Let a good stir around and let that sizzle in the pan for a couple of minutes. So as I said, there's a close similarity with paella, but the main difference is that we use long grain rice in this dish, not the paella round grain rice, and there's no saffron or anything to give it that yellow hue which paella often has. This will have more of a red colour because it's got tomatoes and cayenne pepper and paprika. But you know, it's also, one can compare it with a Middle Eastern pilav, with an Indonesian nasi goreng, even with an Indian biryani. They all have very similar makeups. It's really just things like the spices or the type of rice which differentiate most of those dishes, but otherwise very much common roots. So now I'm going to add my rice. Give that a stir around as well so that the rice all gets nicely coated in the juices from the vegetables and the chorizo. And now we'll add our vegetable stock and our herbs and spices, so oregano, thyme, cayenne pepper, paprika and a couple of bay leaves. Give that a good stir around and then just let that simmer for probably 10 to 12 minutes, which is the time which the rice takes to cook. The only thing we haven't put in now is the prawns, because this pot of jambalaya is going to feed us all weekend. So prawns I'll add as and when we're hungry or we have visitors or whatever, so the prawns are more freshly cooked. But otherwise, this pot is going to stay on the hob all weekend. But for now, we just cover it and leave it for 10 minutes or so until the rice is cooked. Okay, quite a long list today. A tablespoon of olive oil, 2 cloves of chopped garlic, 1 chopped onion, 2 chopped sticks of celery, 2 green or red peppers chopped, 5 ripe tomatoes chopped, 400 grams of chicken thighs, 150 grams of chorizo, a tablespoon of paprika, a teaspoon each of thyme and oregano, 2 bay leaves, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a teaspoon of tomato puree, 200 grams of long grain rice, 400 millilitres of chicken stock, 100 grams of prawns, salt and pepper. Okay, so the rice is cooked, it's absorbed the liquid. What I'm going to do now is just throw on the prawns that I'm going to use for the first serving of this dish, put the lid back on, and then just leave it there bubbling a little bit longer for about another 5 minutes till the prawns turn pink, which means they're done. And that's it. Food fusion and a global kitchen in a pot. That's jambalaya.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go.